I think this one was interesting to me, is he has a tip of hiring people smarter than you. And I think it was in New York at a university or something like that. And he was staffing up, and this was his first experience with it. And he hired a gentleman. And the thing that he was saying is, I just hired this guy. He's making less money than me. He's way smarter than me, way more informed. He should be my boss. I shouldn't be his boss. And this was his first experience with hiring people who are smarter than him, but then he really embraced it. As you get into different positions, right? And is this easier said than done? What did you think about this?
Yes, it is easier said than done. Yeah, it's a really good point. That did stand out to me too. And part of me wants to say, I think it can be done both ways. Like we've seen examples of both styles being done, right? We can probably all think of some set of smartest guys in the room type companies that are out there right now that are big names, and the leader of the company is the big name. And not everybody loves that leader. They are super successful. There is that way of doing it. I think both ways can be done because I think they've both been shown to be done. I do think that as much as we all think that there needs to be that head person, that's the smartest person that knows everything that's going on, I do think though that the other way can be done, and can be done very well. And it can create an environment of creativity. It can create an environment of ownership. It can create an environment of trust. It can be a really solid team if the top leader actually, like you said, isn't the smartest person in the room, because they need to have the other people or it will not work. And yet then they can still play that role of having decision-making power that you have to have. Otherwise, you're running a company by committee, and that really doesn't work either. I've seen examples of this in my own life. I think it is
the Pontiac Aztec looked like it was a car designed by committee.
Exactly. That's what you get out of that. You have to have the right kind of person. You have to have a person that knows who their identity is, or like at the core, they know who they are, because otherwise there's going to be a threat felt. It's going to be threatening. It's going to be like, these people, like, they want my job, or they could have my job. And probably in some companies, they probably could have the CEO job because they just have all these people who are CEO level people, but they're working together as a team. And it takes a special kind of person, I think, or special kind of leader to be able to deal with that, and to maybe have some of the skill sets that some of those really smart people don't actually have, because they're super smart maybe in a lot of areas, but maybe they're like really smart in that specific function that they are head of. And this person leading could maybe even be a little bit more of a generalist. So they're not going to be able to be the CFO because they don't know finances, but they know enough about it to know that they also need to work with this other area, and they can be the champion, and that could be their skill set. So there's not a very concise answer here, because I think it actually can be done both ways. Personally, I would much rather be a part of the latter than the former, because the latter is, if that leader leaves, what happens? If they're the smartest person and they get to do everything, what happens if they leave? Yeah. That doesn't work out very well for the company, or it can just be left in shambles. And it can create really a hierarchical and cutthroat type environment if the CEO of the organization feels like everyone's a threat. So there's like almost like a conspiracy theory mindset that would happen there, versus somebody that entrusts and empowers, and honestly doesn't have to know everything that's going on in the company, because he or she has great people that are rocking it. And I love that concept of, if things go really well, there is enough credit to go around. Like, everyone can share the credit. There doesn't need to be one person that gets it, because if the company does well, if the product does well, organization does well, I mean, there will be enough to go around. And I think they did that here.
Does $1 billion. There certainly is enough to go around.
Exactly.
We'll talk about what happens at that point in a minute here. But I totally agree with you. I feel like this is one of those things that's like an interview layup question. Everyone says the same thing. Yes, I want to hire people that are better to work for me. Yes, I want to work long hours. Yes, I'm a perfectionist. Yes, I'm a company person, whatever it might be. And the reality is, to me, it's almost like I see something like this and I'm like, how can that be controversial? But I totally understand. I think it just depends where your head is at. To me, what I don't like is always being the person who brings the idea, because I actually love it when people bring me something that I haven't seen, because if you are always bringing the ideas, you almost feel like you're the only one doing the heavy lifting. But if people are bringing you ideas, especially people that work for you, I love it when someone brings something, a presentation, an idea, a concept, and I'm like, mind blown. That's great. What a great way of rethinking it. What a great way to look inside out of the data. I think you and me, a number of the people that we love working with are all people like that. It doesn't matter the source of the idea. It's like we see the idea for what it is, and then yes, we can go after it. I want to certainly be a contributor too. I want to bring my own ideas to the fore and help people and be a contributor as well. I think we all do. But I think the people that want to be the only contributor are certainly putting themselves in a situation where they're going to be capped. And if you are only hiring people under you that are lesser skill, I think you're going to find yourself micromanaging them, teaching them. If you're just going to do it yourself, if you're going to micromanage, if you're going to be a doer and not a leader. And especially, you brought up a great word in our conversation a couple minutes ago, trust, right? If I'm going to trust you to do something, I should have trust that you have the competence to do it, right? That gives me the confidence that I can let you go on your own, that I'm going to see something. There have been many times when I'm like, here's what I'd love to see. And you give them space, autonomy, the creativity, and they come back with something better than you expected. A graphic that's better than you expected, a deliverable, a video, whatever it is. And there have been many times when, honestly, people have given me back something and they've said it apologetically, hey, I've taken a little liberty with this. I don't know if this is going to work for you. And I'm like, mind blown. Yeah. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. To me, it's a no-brainer because I like working less. If everyone else is an amazing doer, that's good for all of us.
Right.